When Ethan and I first met, I loved how protective he was. The way his jaw would tighten when another man glanced my way. The way his hand would instinctively find mine in a crowded room. It felt like care, like love. But over time, that same protection began to feel like ownership. I started to smirk instead of appreciate it, teasing him for what I thought was harmless jealousy. I was wrong. It started small. A comment about a coworker, a joking remark at dinner, a ping from my phone. Ethan would tense, say nothing, but I could see him thinking, racing through scenarios I refused to acknowledge. I'd roll my eyes, lean in, kiss his cheek, and say, "Relax, you're overreacting." I thought that would settle things. But every time I dismissed him, every time I laughed at his jealousy, I chipped away at something fragile, his trust. The turning point came on a Friday night. We were at my best friend Megan's house for a small get-together. About 6 people, a mix of old friends and a few new faces. Adam had recently joined our office. Funny, easygoing, maybe too charming. I liked the attention he paid me, the way he complimented my ideas in meetings. Innocent, I told myself. Ethan didn't. That night, Adam poured me a glass of wine, joking about how Ethan must fight off half the office to keep me. I laughed, maybe too loudly. Ethan smiled politely, but I saw it. The storm behind his eyes, quiet, intense. When I looked at him, he wasn't staring at me. That silent stare burned more than any shouting could. Later in the car, he stayed quiet for 10 minutes. Finally, he said, "You enjoy it, don't you?" Watching me get angry. And beside that, you're overreacting again. He's just a friend. His hands gripped the wheel, eyes fixed ahead. You love pushing me just to see how far you can go. I said nothing. Maybe because deep down I knew he was right. For days later, he became distant. Not cold, just quiet. He stopped checking my phone, stopped asking where I was going, stopped reacting, and that silence unnerved me. At least when he was jealous. I knew he still cared. Then came Megan's birthday dinner, a loud rooftop celebration downtown. Everyone from our circle was there, including Adam. I thought that night could fix things. I planned to show Ethan I loved him, that the teasing was playful. But fate had other ideas. Halfway through dinner, after laughter, drinks, and harmless inside jokes, Ethan raised his glass. Calm, steady, too steady. "To honesty," he said, smiling at the table, "and to finally seeing people for who they really are." Everyone laughed awkwardly. He looked directly at me. "It's funny how secrets have a way of surfacing," he continued, "especially when someone forgets to log out their email." My stomach sank. Not here. Not now. Not in front of everyone. Adam shifted. Megan frowned. Ethan's smile didn't falter. "So, cheers," he said, voice tightening, "to my girlfriend who swore she never crossed a line." A pause. And yet, somehow managed to continue a very personal conversation long after work hours. The table went silent. Glasses stopped clinking. My throat went dry. I tried to explain, to say it wasn't what it looked like, but he had already set his glass down. "Enjoy the rest of your night." "I'm done," he said and walked away. For a moment, nobody moved. Megan's eyes darted between me and the door. Adam looked pale. I sat frozen, replaying every text, every joke, every smirk I'd given at Ethan's jealousy, thinking it harmless. That night, I realized the difference between being loved too much and not respecting love enough. But I didn't know, at least not yet, that Ethan's revenge wasn't over. Public humiliation was just the beginning. I didn't chase him. Maybe I didn't know what to say. Maybe I thought he'd cool off and come back. But deep down, I knew something in him had already shut down long before that rooftop dinner. The next morning, I scrolled through old photos, trying to convince myself we were still fixable. The laughter, the vacations, the lazy mornings in bed, they felt like another life. I sent him a message. "We need to talk." No response. Then I called. No answer. By afternoon, his number went straight to voicemail. By evening, I found out what he'd done. Packed his things while I was at work. Clothes, tools, even the small box of keepsakes we shared. Gone. On the kitchen counter, a folded note, simple, precise, in his neat handwriting. You wanted to see how far you could push me. Now you know. At first, it felt like a warning. But then the call started. Megan called first, hesitant. Did you really send Adam those pictures? My heart dropped. What? He sent screenshots to everyone in the group chat this morning. The ones you sent Adam last month. I sank to the kitchen floor, phone shaking in my hand. Those pictures, not explicit but personal, sent in a weak, attention-seeking moment. Something I thought harmless. Ethan had found them, and now everyone knew. The messages poured in, some sympathetic, most not. Adam didn't respond. He had a girlfriend, someone I hadn't even known about, and Ethan had made sure she saw everything. For 2 days, I didn't leave the apartment. The phone buzzed constantly, but I couldn't look. The shame was unbearable. I had mocked his jealousy, and in return, he exposed my carelessness in the most brutal way possible. But the worst part wasn't the humiliation. It was seeing the quiet pain I'd caused and reflected in myself. The late-night ignored messages, the dismissive laughs, the small betrayals I convinced myself were harmless. He had watched me drift away, powerless to stop it, until this was the only way to make me understand. A week later, I saw him again, not in person, but in a photo online, standing next to a woman I didn't recognize, smiling calmly, the way I had loved. The caption, "Some lessons don't need to be taught twice." My chest tightened. He had moved on, not to hurt me, but to heal himself. And that's when it hit me. What he did wasn't revenge. It was closure. His way of saying he was done begging for respect that wasn't freely given. Months passed. I changed jobs, moved apartments, cut my hair. Small ways to feel like someone knew. People eventually stopped whispering, but every now and then, I'd see his name online. A new project, a new photo, a new start. He was thriving. I was still trying to forgive myself. One evening, Megan came over with wine. We sat on the balcony, city lights flickering below. "You know," she said, "he didn't humiliate you to be cruel. He just wanted you to feel what he felt. Unseen." I nodded, staring into my glass. He got what he wanted. I see it now. She smiled softly. Maybe next time, don't wait until it's too late to appreciate someone who truly cares. After she left, I scrolled through old messages one last time, deleted them all. Pictures, threads, the apologies I never sent. For the first time in months, my phone was silent. And in that silence, I finally understood what Ethan meant. I had pushed him too far. It wasn't jealousy, it was respect. Respect you only realize is gone when someone walks away and never looks back.